Hi, this is Devi, and in this session, we will see how to install Kubernetes in your local machine using VirtualBox, Vagrant, and kubeadm. So what we'll do is like we'll install master and worker VMs and Kubernetes on top of those VMs, and finally we'll create a simple pod to test whether it's working or not. This session assumes that you already have VirtualBox and Vagrant, so if not, you can go through these links to download and install VirtualBox and Vagrant. So the first step is to install the worker nodes and VM. So I've already created the VMs. So if you want, you can simply say Vagrant up in any of the repositories. Uh, so I used a repository. I can share that link. So you can use any repository. And if you say Vagrant up, then you will get those VMs up and running. So I have the VMs up and running. You can see that there's one master node and two worker nodes. So now what I'll do is I'll have to SSH into all the three nodes. So what we'll do is on all the nodes, we will install Docker, we'll install Kubernetes related softwares like kubeadm, kubelet, and kubectl. And finally, in the initializing the first we'll initialize the master node, and we'll join the worker nodes to the master node, and finally we'll test it with a by creating a simple pod. Okay, the first step is I have to SSH into all the worker nodes because I need to install Docker on all the three nodes. So what I do is vagrant SSH cube master. So I'll open three separate sessions. Okay, so I'll say vagrant node 01 cube 01 no 02. Okay, okay, so I'm done with this step. Now what we need to do is we'll start on the installation. So the reference link is posted here. So I'll go to this link and follow these steps. So this is the official Kubernetes documentation. First step is to install the kubeadm. But before that, we need to check certain things. So the first step is to check if a module is loaded and load it if it is not. And yeah, this one I have to run it in all the nodes. So what I'll do is first I'll check if it's not loaded. It's not loaded, so I have to load these nodes, this module. So I'll just run in all the three nodes. Yeah, this is to ensure that the system IP table see bridge traffic. So I'll run all these here. Okay, I ran these steps. Done with this. So the next step is to install Docker. So for Docker, I'll follow the official Docker URL. Go here, Docker, and I'll install this Docker engine. So this is the Ubuntu. Yeah. So I need to install on all the nodes. So I'll be executing these commands in all the nodes. Add Docker's GPG. Okay, now I run the Docker, install the Docker CLI. Okay, go back. So I need to configure the Docker daemon. So I run this. Okay, enable Docker. Okay, finally I see a systemctl restart Docker. Okay, so I'm done with installation of Docker on all the worker nodes. The next step is to install kubeadm, kubelet, and kubectl. I'll go back to this documentation. Okay, so I'll be executing all these commands here. Okay, now I install the CLIs. Okay, so I do this to prevent automatic updation. Okay, so we are done with this installation. Now what we have to do is you have to init the master node using kubeadm init, and then what we have to do is we have to configure the kubeconfig file so that you will be able to execute the kubectl commands, and then you have to install the pod networking. Uh, so we'll be using Weave, and once that is done, then we'll join the worker nodes to the cluster, and then we'll validate. So the next step is to run the kubeadm init command. Now go here. Click on this link. Yeah, so kubeadm init command accepts some arguments. So you need to pass those arguments in order to start the you need to initialize the cluster. So what we have to do is first we have to check get the IP address of the master node. So for that you have to say okay, so you have to see this is the IP. So what you have to do is like you just have to say kubeadm init, and then you'll say API. So just say the API server advertise URL is the IP address of the master API. So now I just ping this. Oh yeah, you have to say sudo. Okay, note this command because you may have to run this command to ensure that your worker node joins the master node. So you have to run this command in all the worker. So we are done with this step. Now the next step is to configure the kubeconfig file. So for configuring the kubeconfig, so follow these steps: create a directory, copy this file to the kubeconfig, and change the permissions for this file. And you can see that I just have to run it in the master node, not on all the worker nodes. Okay, I did this. Now the next step is to install a plugin. So for installing the plugin, we have to run, I'm going to use Weave, Weave network plugin. So now I'll run this command to ensure that the Weave is installed. So the Weave is now installed. The next step is to join the cluster. So this step is done, and this is also done. Now I have to join the worker nodes to the cluster. So for joining, copy this command. So you need to run sudo and then so you can see that the worker node joined the cluster. So the last step is to validate. So what you can do is you can say kubectl get nodes. Now this should show 3 nodes. You can see that the first node is ready, the second node takes some time to get ready. Okay, so it takes some time. Now the last step is to yeah, I'll wait for this node to be ready. Yeah, it's now ready. So now what you can do is you can actually deploy a simple pod to check if it works fine. So all you need to do is just say kubectl run nginx. So just say kubectl get pods. Yep, so it's creating. Yeah, now it's running. Okay. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this session. Thanks a lot for joining. We'll see you in the next session. Thank you.